Alright, Shalom, Shalom Israel, coming back with another video, giving all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which the world calls God, and Yahweh Shai, which the world calls Jesus Christ. Shalom, Shalom. And I'm going to be addressing the topic, and the topic I'm going to be addressing is whether we got to keep the commandments or not. Because we living in the last days, and brothers still think that you could do whatever you want and still get the kingdom. A lot of people are witnessing the signs of the Most High, right? And they still think that they can do whatever they want in the world and be in the world and still redeem the kingdom and still, be deemed worthy enough to get the kingdom. Well, that's a lie, man. When you go into the scriptures, you find out that you are not supposed to be sinning, right? Even though every man sins, you still supposed to be trying to keep the commandments to the best of your ability. That's why it's in here. That's why the Lord gave you the commandments, so that you can keep the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Not for you to do whatever you want, right? Slakia, bear with me. Get a precept real quick. Bear with me, Israel. Alright, Slakia. So I'm going to get the book of Sirach. I'm going to get 17 and 11. So Ecclesiasticus 17 and verse 11. And it says, Sirach 17 and verse 11, beside this he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an inheritance, right? He made an everlasting covenant with them and showed them his judgments, right? Right, so I'm gonna read it over. 11. Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an inheritance. So the Lord gave the Israelites, which is the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, he gave us knowledge and he gave us the law of life for an inheritance, right? For a heritage, right? So this is what we're supposed to be doing, man. We're supposed to be keeping the commandments, right? But let's get into it. I'm going to get the book of John. I'm going to start off with John 5 and verse 14. So Yahweh Shai, he just had healed a man, and this is what he said to the man, right? So I'm going to start off with 11. He answered them, he that made me whole, the same said unto me, take up thy bed and walk. Then asked they him, what man is that which said unto thee, take up thy bed and walk? And he that was healed wist not who it was, so he didn't know who it was, for Yahweh Shai had conveyed himself away, a multitude being in that place. Verse 14. Afterward Yahweh Shai findeth him in the temple and said unto him, behold, this is what Yahweh Shai is saying, so-called Jesus Christ. He said, behold, thou art made whole, sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee. So he said, sin no more. Now, what is sin? Let's find out. Now we're going to go to the book of 1 John. Bear with me. Bear with me. Right, so this is the book of 1 John. 1 John 3 and verse 4. Right, so this is the book of 1 John 3 and verse 4. So remember in John 5 and 14, Yahweh Shai told the man that he healed, he said, sin no more. So let's find out what sin is. So 1 John 3 and verse 4, whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. So he said when you sin, that means you're breaking the law. So sin is breaking the law. And the Lord told the man, sin no more. So he said, break the law no more. Right? That's why when you read this Bible, you got to go precept upon precept. Right? Let's get another precept to confirm that. Let's get Isaiah 28 and verse 10. Right? So this is the book of Isaiah 28 and verse 10. Saki. Khan, I'm right here. Spirit. Alright, 28 and verse 10. And it says, for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So you have to go precept upon precept to understand the scriptures, man. If you don't go precept upon precept, you're not going to understand what you read. There's no way you can understand without, proving and validating what you're saying and what you're reading by going to another precept, right? So therefore, we just seen that's one one cut, and that's a big cut right there, showing you that you have to keep the commandments. Because the Lord told the man, he said, sin no more. And we just read that sin is the breaking of the law. So therefore, the Lord said it's not okay to break the law. The Lord never came and said, I'm getting rid of the law. He never said, don't do the commandments, don't keep the commandments. He tells you to keep the commandments. He told that man to keep the commandments, right? Let's get another precept. I'll go to Baruch. Actually, let's go to Exodus. All right, so we're going to go all over the Bible real quick. So this is the book of Exodus. Bear with me. Right, so this is the book of Exodus 19 and verse 5. Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. So he said, if you keep my covenant and you obey my voice, what does it mean when someone says obey my voice? Doesn't that mean you got to listen to what they say? Everything they command you to do, you got to do it. So all the commandments that's in the Bible, the Lord told you, you must do them. Right? You got to keep the commandments. It's not a if so, maybe, but, can I, do I have to? You got to keep the commandments. It's a fact. You got to keep the commandments. Right? When you go through the precepts, you find that out. Right? So let's get John. Let's go back to John real quick. Bear with me. So we're going to get John 5 and 3. Bear with me. Saki, 1 John. So 1 John, I'm gonna get 2 and 3 first. So this is the book of 1 John 2 and verse 3, and it says, and hereby we do know that we know him, and the him is Yahushai, if we keep his commandments. So you know the Lord. This is how you know the Lord. If you keeping his commandments. If you keeping his commandments, you know the Most High. Just like when we go out there and, we tell the people, hey, you got to do this and do that. They'll say, you don't know God, and da-da-da. Well, we do, because we keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our abilities, man. Right? Verse 4. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him, Khan. So you got to keep the commandments. And if you don't keep the commandments and you claim you know the Most High, you are a liar, man. And if you don't know the Most High, do you think he's going to save you? Do you think he's going to save a man that don't know him? Right? Say my wife. Right? I got my wife, And you know, I don't know nothing about her, man. I know nothing about her, right? Then when it comes to the time, you know, for me to ask her for something, she gonna be like, well, you don't do nothing for me, or you don't even know me like that, or, you know, you're not gonna get nothing. You really not gonna get nothing out of that person that you don't know like that, right? Just like when you walk down the street, it's a hard thing to walk down the street and to just ask a random stranger for $5. He gonna be like, wait, I don't even know you. That's the same thing Yahweh Shai gonna say. He gonna say, I don't know you, man. I don't know you. You gotta step back. You wasn't even keeping my laws, man. You gotta step back, man. That's what the Lord gonna say to you, right? If you're not keeping His commandments. Right, now let's get 1 John 5:3. So we showing you it's already validated that you gotta keep the commandments. But we gonna keep going. So 1 John 5:3, for this is the love of Yahweh, that we keep His commandment. And I'm gonna read it as it is. For this is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous. So you got to keep the Lord's commandments, right? And when you read verse 2, by this we know that we love... This is verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep His commandments. Wow. You know, I don't know where they get that from, that you don't got to keep the commandments, because that's folly. When you read the Bible, you actually sit and take the time to read. You actually come to find out that all over the scriptures, He says, keep my commandments. He not one time says, don't do my commandments. He never says that. That's never come out of the words of the Most High or Yahweh Shai. You're not going to find that in there. And anybody that says that He does say that, you are a liar. And you a bold liar, man. You wicked. Them pastors y'all got out there, they wicked. Because they telling you, you don't got to keep the commandments. Right? So if we don't got to keep the commandments, can I go commit adultery? Can I go fornicate? Am I allowed to be a murderer, a pedophile? For you to say that you don't got to keep the commandments is outrageous, bro. Because like I said, if you don't got to keep the commandments, that means I can go kill whoever I want. I can go kill any Edomite, right? You know, I could go kill any Edomite I want, any Ishmaelite I want, which is the Arabs, Indians, right? I can go kill and do whatever I want. I can go steal. I can go shoot up a store. So if I don't got to keep the commandments, I could do whatever I want then. I can do all types of folly, steal, and like I said, be a murderer, right? That means I could rape somebody then. How does that sound? That sounds stupid. And then the people, when you say something like that to the people, they'll be like, well, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't, because they're confounded, man. I was watching a video a while back, and the brother was bringing it out that you got to keep the commandments. And then the brother was like, you know, so that means I could be a murderer then? Then he was like, well, I wouldn't do it, because he's confounded. This word cuts through your soul, right? Hebrews 4:12. When you start bringing out precepts, it's like a slice to the intestines, to the soul. It's like a sword that just cut through everything, man. It don't miss nothing, right? It don't break. The sword don't break, and it's cutting through your whole body, right? So y'all gotta understand, you gotta keep the commandments though, right? Let's get another precept. All right, let's get Baruch. Bear with me. Let's get Baruch 4:1. This is the book of Baruch 4:1. And it says, this is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. Now, why does it say that? If you don't got to keep the commandments, why does it say that the law endureth forever? Is forever just 5 months? Is forever just That was just in the Old Testament. That was just back then. That was just when they got delivered out of Egypt. He said forever. And I'm sure y'all know what forever means. It's everlasting. Never stops. Forever. It's just a continuous cycle, man. You gotta always keep the commandments. Alright? It's like you bear with me. It's a joke. It's a joke that brothers gotta make videos like this anyway. It's really a joke that brothers gotta make videos like this. Right? Let's continue. All they that keep it shall come to life. So if you keep the commandments, you're going to come to life. Not meaning you're going to just be born, but in a spiritual sense, you're going to be reborn, because once you're in the world, you dead. You have no knowledge or understanding, man. You the valley of dry bones, right? But such as leave it shall die. So if you don't keep the commandments, you're going to die. Straight like that. No ifs, ands, or buts, no maybes, right? He said, if you don't keep these commandments, you're going to die. And I want to read that one more time because this is a solid cut. So, Baruch 4:1, this is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. Forever. Just let that sink into your heart. Forever. That's why when it comes to the scriptures, you got to actually read, man. You got to read so that you can get some knowledge, man. If you don't start reading, if you're not reading the Bible from the back to the front, you're not going to know what's going on, right? You're just going to steady be getting confounded. Because this is really a cut to the church people, man. The people of the church. Because the people of the church, they'll believe everything the damn pastor says, but yet the pastor can't prove a damn thing he talking about. He can't prove nothing he's talking about. Right? Damn, I forgot the precept I wanted. Oh, come on. Let me get Isaiah 34. 34 and 16. And like I said, the pastors are a joke. Right? It says, as Isaiah 34 and 16, seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. And read, man. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate, for my mouth hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. So you gotta seek ye out the book and read. Any answers, anything you got a question on, you gotta come into the Bible and read it yourself. That's why you can't believe these pastors, because they telling you that you don't gotta keep the commandments. That's a problem. Then when you go to John 15 and 14, he says, if you love me, keep my commandments. So therefore, you got to keep the commandments. That's why you got to stay out of these churches, man. These churches is spreading folly. Right? Let's get a precept in Jeremiah. You know, I like this precept right here. Jeremiah 14 and 14. It's a cut. Jeremiah 14 and 14. Then the Lord said unto me, the prophets prophesy lies in my name. I sent them not, neither have I commanded them, neither spake unto them. They prophesy unto you a false vision and divination, and a thing of naught, and the deceit of their heart. So these prophets that's telling you don't got to keep the commandments, these pastors in these churches that's saying you do not got to keep the commandments, they're prophesying a deceit after their own hearts, man. They're going after their own hearts in a vain opinion that means nothing. You got to go into the scriptures. You can't use your heart. You can't be using your heart talking about some, you know what's going on, man. Right? You cannot use your heart to teach somebody, man. That's your emotions. Your emotions is not correct. Your emotions is unstable, man. If you just go off your sheer emotions, you're going to be unstable in all your ways. You're going to be like that double-minded man in James 1 and 8. You're going to be double-minded. Because sometimes we feel happy. Sometimes we're sad. Sometimes we're in the middle. So if you're going off your emotions, you're going to be all over the place. In your heart, you're going to be all over the place. Right? Let's get Jeremiah 17 and verse 9. And it says, Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? So a man's heart is desperately wicked, man. Right? Because, like I said, if a pastor is supposed to be preaching the word of the Most High and he's telling you you don't got to keep the commandments, he's going after his own heart and he's preaching deceitfulness, man. You can't know that man's heart because he's lying to you. If he lying to you about the word of the Most High, he'll lie to you about anything. There's not one thing you could trust from that man, right? Even me, my grandmother was a, Jake, they say they like, they know the Most High and classic Christian. She was a classic Christian, and she actually wanted to seek out the Most High, but she couldn't read, right? She couldn't read, and the pastor was telling her things that was not in the Bible for her money. My grandmother gave a lot of money to the church, and the church was being deceitful, man. That's a terrible thing right there. Right? Let's go to Titus. Bear with me. This is Titus 1:11. Whose mouths must be, verse 10, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. So Israelites, right? Because they are of the circumcision, right? And even brothers that's in this truth. There's a lot of deceivers out there and vain talkers, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things they ought not for filthy lucre's sake, right? So that prophet, that so-called prophet and pastor, in that church, I forgot the name of the church, but when you go to the driveway, you go in the parking lot, and they actually got like parking spaces. And you know how to have like the handicap parking space, so only handicaps can park there. Well, on the parking spots, it says apostle this, apostle that. So y'all calling yourselves apostles now? They doing these things for filthy lucre's sake. Verse 12. One of themselves, even a prophet of their own, said the Christians are always liars, evil beasts, slow bellies, meaning slow minds. And those pastors, they got a slow mind, man. Some of them actually believe the garbage that they preaching to you. And some of them just know they lying and just being deceitful as hell. Right? Get a few more precepts and we're going to end it. I believe I want Matthew 5. Matthew 5 and 6. 5 and 10. Sorry, bear with me. If I don't find it, I'm going to drop it, if anything, and go to another precept. I'm going to drop it, but, hey, if you don't believe in this, you're going to be destroyed by the Most High. Because we just proved it out the Bible that you got to keep the commandments, right? You have to keep the commandments, right? Let's go to the book of James. And again, y'all got to stay out of these churches, man. These churches is not for you, man. Bear with me, Israel. So James 2 and verse 18, and it says, Con 2 and 18, yeah, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. So you got to show your faith by your works, meaning by keeping the commandments. 19. Thou believest that there is one God, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? So faith without keeping the commandments is dead. You could call yourself having faith all you want, but if you're not keeping the commandments, that you dead. Your faith is dead, right? Let me get one more precept. Most High willing, in Proverbs 17 and 11. And ultimately, if you're not dealing with this, you a rebellious man. You are rebellious, and you're gonna be destroyed. If you feel like you don't gotta keep the commandments to get the kingdom, you're gonna be destroyed. Because we just proved it already out the Bible. With a few scriptures. Right? So this is Proverbs 17 and 11. And it says, an evil man seeketh only rebellion, therefore a cruel messenger shall be sent against him. And that cruel messenger is an angel of the Most High. He gonna put you to death. If you seeking rebellion and you being rebellious and you feel like you don't gotta keep the commandments, you're gonna be destroyed, man. Right? So, I'm gonna end it with the precept I always end it with. Right? Which also ties into this. So, Revelations 22 in verse 12. And it says, and behold, I come, this is Yahushua speaking, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. Right? And Slakia, before I even end, some brothers will say, well, okay, now we got to keep the commandments. Damn. Now let me go try to read the 10 commandments. No, there's 613 commandments, man. 600. So, brothers would be like, oh, that's unfair. How are we going to keep all 600 commandments? Well, the Lord said you got to keep the commandments, man. And every man goes off, but you got to keep the commandments, right? Then the Lord say the wages of sin is death. So when you break the commandments, you're going to get death, right? Let's get a precept. I might as well get it. Romans 6. This is the, sorry, bear with me. This is the book of Romans 6 and 23. And it says, for the wages of sin, and sin is breaking the law, is death. But the gift of Yahweh is eternal life through Yahushua HaMashiach, our Lord. And for the people that don't know what that means, I'll just read it as it is. Jesus Christ. All right, 23 again. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ, our Lord. So the wages of sin is death, right? I was just reading something real quick, but the wages of sin is death. So brothers will say, oh, that's not fair. How we going to get the kingdom with all them commandments? How we going to keep the commandments? The Lord said, keep my commandments, man. Every man sins, but that means you got to keep the commandments to the best of your ability. It wouldn't be in the scriptures if you weren't able to do it, man. Right? Let's get a precept on what I just said. Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 33 and verse 17. This is the book of Ezekiel 33 and verse 17. And it says, yet the children of thy people say, the way of the Lord is not equal, but as for them, their way is not equal. Right? So, people are saying the Lord's way is not equal, man. Your way ain't equal. Jake, you thinking that you can get the commandment, the kingdom, while there's other brothers trying to get the commandment, get the kingdom by keeping the commandments. Your way is not equal, man. The Lord's way is always equal. The Lord's way is righteousness. His truth is righteousness. But here you go talking about the Lord's way is not equal. So F the Most High. I'm not keeping the commandments. I'd rather die then. That's how some of you Jakes think, and you really gonna die for real. You might think that you're not, but you really gonna die for real. The Most High gonna put you to death. For real. For real, for real. Right? There's another precept I want to let me go to the book of Psalms. Right? Because this is the truth. This is righteousness. Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. to gain the kingdom. This is true righteousness. Psalms 119 and 142. Psalms 119 and 142. And it says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. Thy law is the truth. So the Lord's law is the truth, and his righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. So the Lord's way is righteousness, man. And it's the truth. So that being said, I'm going to give all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which the world calls God, and Yahweh Shai, which the world calls Jesus Christ. Shalom.